On the final day of the 20th century, an unimaginable catastrophe befalls humanity as multiple mysterious gates materialize, unleashing hordes of monstrous creatures called calamities that wreak havoc on Earth. As the world teeters on the brink of destruction, a glimmer of hope emerges in the form of a group of heroic figures known as the 12 Saints. However, amidst the saints, there is a 13th member, a monstrous human possessing extraordinary powers that surpass even the collective might of the other 12. This individual's overwhelming abilities present a formidable challenge to both the calamities and the saints, adding a new level of complexity and danger to an already dire situation. Before we begin, follow if you want to zap into the latest anime trends and hit the subscribe button so you never miss any update from us. The catastrophic event that occurred on Earth was beyond comprehension, as it was struck by a sudden and ferocious disaster. This disaster took the form of powerful monsters, known as calamities, that emerged and brought devastation to cities worldwide. Despite the government's frantic efforts to stop the calamities by resorting to using nuclear weapons, their attempts were rendered futile as these weapons proved to be ineffective against the calamities' strength and power. As a result, humanity was plunged into despair, feeling helpless and hopeless. It seemed as though there was no way out of the situation until the emergence of the 12 saints who were bestowed with power from 12 supernatural Gishin. These saints gave humans a glimmer of hope and a fighting chance against calamities. However, one man named Li Jian was awakened without the Gishin's power, and to everyone's amazement, he was even more potent than all the other saints combined. He was a force to be reckoned with, and his arrival was a game changer in the battle against calamities. During one of the most intense battles against the worst calamity, Crimson Eye, Li Jian was dealt a severe blow when he was backstabbed and thrown into a trap. Despite being unable to move, Li Jian's unwavering determination and unyielding spirit kept him fighting. He swore to take revenge on those who had wronged him and declared that he would not die until he achieved his goal. His fierce determination was a testament to the unbreakable human spirit and the refusal to give up even in the darkest time of his life. The story opens with Hugo Otter, the Sagittarius Saint, having a meal with Li Jian, the 13th awakened, at a restaurant. During their conversation, Hugo mentions that he will die soon, but Li Jian, who is munching on chicken, claims to have killed more calamities than all the other saints combined. He jokes around and appears unconcerned. Li Jian also discusses that they will be heading to the Demon Tower, where the most fearsome calamity resides. It's revealed that on the last day of the 20th century, calamities appeared worldwide, pushing mankind into a corner. At the Demon Tower, the other saints are portrayed as greedy and concerned only about money. They quickly flee after encountering the boss, Crimson Eye, who proves to be too powerful for them. However, Li Jian stays and defeats Crimson Eye, but he's backstabbed and thrown into a special trap that spawns infinite calamities. Li Jian fights the calamities relentlessly for 20 years until he finally reaches the last one and defeats it, only to collapse on the ground. Meanwhile, in the real world, two workers are being chased by high-ranking calamities. As they approach their doom, Jian suddenly appears, seeking revenge on the saints who abandoned him. The workers are surprised by Jian's prowess after he defeats the calamities but are terrified when the boss appears behind him. As the boss attacks, the workers await their inevitable demise. Jian's heroic actions leave the workers in utter disbelief as they never think they will make it out alive. With one punch, he takes down the formidable boss, and the workers can't be more grateful as they treat him with 120 portions of food. As Jian enjoys the meal, he notices a new mark on his left hand that indicates his body is replaced, and his soul has transferred to a new vessel. He regains all his previous memories and skills, but his burning desire for revenge against the saints remains unquenched. As the investigators try to unravel the mystery behind the calamity's defeat, they can only speculate who the savior could be, and all eyes are on Jian. The news of the calamity's fall quickly spreads, prompting Yang Wei, the Aries saint, to face intense scrutiny. Despite the pressure, Yang Wei remains tight-lipped, and his only worry is whether Jian survived and had a hand in the calamity's downfall. On the other hand, Hugo Otters has become a prominent VIP and arrived in England for a meeting with the Prime Minister. However, he is irritated by the numerous calls he keeps receiving. In a surprising turn of events, the Prime Minister himself contacts Hugo and informs him that Li Jian's cell phone has been found to be active by the South Korean government. Hugo then listens to the voice notes left on his phone and realizes that Jian had been the one calling him all along. As a result, he rushes back to the airport, postponing his business in England. Meanwhile, Li Jian discovers that 2 decades have elapsed in the real world. He uses a smartphone for the first time and discovers that the 12 saints have falsely claimed credit for defeating Crimson Eye. Furthermore, he finds out that his intention to donate all his possessions to charity and people in need was disregarded, and the 12 saints acquired his belongings instead. Later on, he meets a gangster couple, Rankers and Mokshin, from the Gemini group. Initially, Jian ignores their derogatory comments and keeps his anger under control, but then he suddenly snaps and calls them cockroaches, picking a fight. After easily defeating the man who had mocked him, Li Jian learns that the man had possessed a supernatural artifact that only the saints used to carry during his time. Han Jimin, one of the workers, then explains to him that only 12 people were unable to protect the world, which led to the creation of groups of people who followed them, called supernatural cadre. He further explains the power hierarchy, starting with the saints being the strongest, followed by the 10 followers known as stars, who are considered as saint candidates, then the cadres captains who manage the cadres, and finally, the cadres themselves who further divide into power classes. While Li Jian was fighting, some household Gishans were observing with great delight and asked him to finish off the couple, wanting to see more blood. However, Li Jian blasts them away as it is revealed that opposing the household Gishans was similar to opposing a high-ranking Jinshan. He then proceeds to loot everything off the man he just defeated, claiming that looting times are the best. Jian soon decides to freeload at Jimin's house, who reluctantly agrees to let him stay. While there, Jian gets a haircut, and Jimin compliments him, causing Jian to feel embarrassed but pleased. He also discovers that many weak calamities are present in Jimin's house, which piques his curiosity. Upon investigating, he learns that Jimin possesses several malevolent artifacts given to him by the Gemini group, as he is a cadre, making him feel alarmed. These artifacts attract calamities, and Jian senses danger lurking around the corner. Suddenly, a red-haired man named Sungchae arrives, claiming ownership of the house, and becomes furious upon seeing the mess. Jian feels annoyed by Sungchae and starts to wonder who he is and why he's there. Meanwhile, Aries Saint Yang Wei receives news about the disappearance of the household Gishans in Korea, and Hugo is on his way there, making him concerned about the situation. He decides to go there himself to investigate what is happening. On the other hand, the Gemini disciple who was nearly killed by Jian earlier is at the hospital, and his grandfather is angry after seeing him in such a state. However, Min Sung-hoon, an S-rank Gemini cadre, tells him to calm down as he was assigned to take care of the matter, trying to ease the tension. The situation seems to be escalating, and the character's actions might have far-reaching consequences. On the contrary, Sungchae doesn't believe Jimin's explanation of how he met Jian and becomes angry when Jian introduces himself as Li Jian. Despite being a ranked Gemini cadre, Sungchae is easily defeated by Jian with just one finger. It's revealed that Sungchae is a huge fan of Li Jian and has many figures of him, but Jian destroys them all as they make him uncomfortable. Meanwhile, Hugo has arrived in Korea and learns about the incident Jian caused the day before. While sitting in a cafe, Yang Wei contacts him by possessing a waitress. Later, while Jimin and Sungchae are at the grocery store, they discuss whether Jian could really be Li Jian. However, a thief steals everyone's wallets, but Jian stops him. As the thief tries to escape, the Calamity Spider Queen appears and captures and eats him. Despite the danger, Li Jian tries to protect the people present in the store. At the same time, it's revealed that Jimin has many evil artifacts gifted to him by the Gemini group, which attract calamities. As Yang Wei hears the news of Spider Queen's appearance in the store, his heart sinks, knowing that it's a formidable red-rank calamity that he and his followers failed to defeat in their previous attempt. He knows that he is not strong enough to face it alone and thus decides to take drastic action by burying the entire building to prevent the calamity from causing any more damage and to preserve his reputation. Meanwhile, Min Sung-hoon, an S-rank Gemini cadre, arrives at the store, determined to use his exceptional powers to stop the calamities. However, even his powerful magic proves ineffective against the Spider Queen. Despite the odds, Li Jian steps up and takes care of the calamities with ease. Min Sung-hoon recognizes Jian as the one who attacked his fellow cadres and confronts him. However, before they could resolve their differences, the Spider Queen attacks again, but Li Jian proves to be more than a match for it, taking it down with a single punch. Jian's sense of responsibility and compassion compels him to make a crucial decision to help the people trapped in the building as the calamities threaten their lives. He understands that their safety is of utmost importance, and he cannot stand idly by while they suffer. Unfortunately, Min Sung-hoon, acting on his captain's orders, tends to abandon the building, leaving the people inside to their fate as per Yang Wei's plan. Despite Sung-hoon's compliance, Sungchae fiercely opposes him, and a physical altercation is about to ensue. However, Jian, with his unwavering mettle and composure, steps in and halts their fighting by taking down Sung-hoon's. Just as tensions begin to dissipate, Spider Queen reappears, unleashing her deadly grasp on Sung-hoon, devouring him completely while Jian decides to restrain the monster. Jian then urges Jimin and Sungchae to evacuate the civilians safely, promising to catch up with them soon. Meanwhile, outside the store, Yang Wei is left astonished as he watches the people escaping from the building, as he had earlier ordered a barrier to keep them trapped inside. His curiosity peaks when he hears the people mention that someone had defeated the Spider Queen alone, prompting him to investigate further. In an unexpected twist, Yang Wei encounters Hugo, who materializes behind him out of the blue, leaving Yang Wei startled and perplexed. Outside, Sungchae is surprised and unsure if Jian is truly who he claims to be. In the meantime, Hugo, who happens to be Sungchae's father, appears and inquires about the situation inside the store. After learning about Jian's heroism in defeating Spider Queen, he becomes curious. Meanwhile, Yang Wei confronts Jian and is initially skeptical, as the man before him doesn't quite match the Li Jian he knows. However, when Jian displays his extraordinary power, Yang Wei decides to take him seriously and uses his royal skill to attack. Despite the ferocity of the attack, Jian remains unfazed and retaliates with a powerful punch, sending Yang Wei crashing into a wall. At this point, Yang Wei finally accepts that Jian is indeed the true Li Jian. Follow if you want to zap into the latest anime trends and hit the subscribe button so you never miss any update from us.